What's up, everybody? I am Jay Stoggs, and you are watching another edition of Cowboys Cutting Up. Of course, I'm here with Trey Collis, host of Hill Country Sports. And one of the things that we get to do here is we get to invite some unwanted guests into our house just for a moment and say, hey, what's up? What's really wrong with your team and why they're going to lose. Of course, we have with us AC Brown, also known as Buck Chill of the Crew Life, Buccaneers Takeover, and then Tampa Bay Ray. This guy, I've actually seen some of the stuff he's done with Big Game James. He's really, really good. Cup of Ray, Bucks Report. Gentlemen, welcome to Cowboys Cutting Up. Great to see you here.
Appreciate it, brother.
Until you start talking Bucks. No, look, we've already started before, and I tell you, this is going to be one of those shows that if you miss it live and don't comment, you'll have a chance to do that, but you're really going to miss some fun stuff here. And I'm going to make sure I keep my finger over here on the comments and watching that. But let's really just kind of get down into the nitty gritty and the breakdown. Our first segment where we start just really talking about. Let's go from preseason, what we saw, and you guys didn't get to see a lot of, your starter because he was dealing with stuff. And then some of the reports of, your fat running back. Hopefully slimmed down a little bit. And then the offensive line, some things that were going on there, and which we understand totally here in Dallas. But give us a little bit what's going on in Tampa Bay.
Well, first of all, I want to know. I already knew Jerry Jones was, part a co-commissioner, but I want to know how the Dallas Cowboys were able to schedule again the Bucks in that first game of the year. But this year they get them there at AT&T Stadium. What's going on with that, guys?
Hey, man, look.
Hey, we played Minnesota in Minnesota every freaking year. Like, okay, y'all can come down. Like, if it seems like in Green Bay, we play Green Bay in Green Bay every freaking year. It's time for someone to come to Big D, baby.
That was like us when we were in the black and blue division. We always started. It seemed like we always started the last quarter of the season. We always started it in like sub-zero temperatures for 3 straight games.
And Jay, I know I'm taking you off the subject, but I got to tell you, I spent most of the preseason last year, 2021, trying to warn Bucks fans the fact that Dak was coming off the injury, but this Dallas Cowboys and Dan Quinn and this defense, that they were making a mark, and we saw some of that in 2021. And then to have them flip the script now, and we're going there for the Week 1 game at 8:20 with 70,000 plus rabid Cowboy fans and a few Bucks fans there at AT&T Stadium. Yeah. It's tall order. It's going to be. It's probably. You guys. I've heard many national prognosticators say this, but I totally agree. It may be the best game of the day.
Oh, it definitely is, and that's why it's slotted at the 7:20 Central Standard Time, 8:20 Eastern Standard Time slot, because it is the game of the week. Everyone watches Cowboys, regardless of how you feel about your local team, and that's great. But I've always stated this, and Trey knows what I'm about to say, but there are 2 types of fans in the NFL: those who root for the Cowboys and those who root against. And everyone else, they root for their local team, but they're going to watch the Cowboys to see if they blow up in, a big heap of disastrous, crap, or they get their feelings hurt and say, oh my gosh, how did they win? How did they pull that out? So yeah, that's what it is. It's 7:20. It's game of the week. It's all national eyes on them. The only other thing that would make it even better would make it, on Monday night.
Well, better would have been, guys, and Buck Chill, you asked me, we were prognosticating before the schedule came out back in March, and we're like, what if the Bucks are playing in Dallas? Because we knew it had to be a home game at Dallas that we're scheduled to play there in Dallas. Why can't it be the Thanksgiving Day game? We're thinking maybe it's the Thanksgiving Day game, because that's even if you're not a Dallas Cowboys fan the rest of the year, everyone's a Dallas Cowboys fan usually on Thanksgiving, because the game is on and I don't want to be talking to the family, so I got to be focusing on something. But they put them on their first game of the year, a Sunday night game, nationally televised. It's going to be huge.
We spent a lot of time kicking around which one of our games was going to be in Germany, and there was a lot of speculation around the people around me that it was going to be that Thanksgiving game.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, it's not. I mean, because
Joe was good.
When I get up early on Thanksgiving Day, I want to watch Macy's. I don't want to watch.
There's traditions. I mean, that's
I want to do that with the family.
Yeah, now, and that's why I see that
1 o'clock when I'm in turkey coma. Then we'll put on whoever
Detroit.
We'll put on the game, and whoever's playing against Dallas, we'll root for them.
No, it's usually that 1 o'clock at Detroit. Yeah, because everyone's
it does suck being I love the Thanksgiving Day, but like you're full and like you cannot put your heart and soul into the team because like you're just in a eat coma basically. Like so, you don't want that Thanksgiving Day game. It kind of does. It's awesome when it's here, but then Sunday comes around, and you're like, man, my team's not playing.
Yeah, but usually on that Thanksgiving game, we also see the backup for Dallas play.
That's true.
It's very rare that we ever see Dak or the starter. You know, going back to Red Rider, the original Red Rider,
Jason Garrett. There you
go. Captain Clapper. Playing that game every. Oh, I got lots of them. Every Thanksgiving. So, before him was Babe Offenberg. Like that's who you watched. You didn't watch the starting quarterback.
You know who I grew up watching was Danny White, and
there
to me, the most impressive quarterback. I mean, first it was Roger Staubach, of course, with Tom Landry, but you had Danny White. To this day, the only quarterback, other than when Warren Sapp did it once, but so you know what I'm talking about here, did it with the Bucs because he was a punter going back to high school and in Miami. But Danny White, the only quarterback that would go out there for 3 plays, they would try to move the ball, it didn't work, then he would drop back 15 and he would punt like a son of a gun. And to me, that's how I grew up. That Ray Guy was the kicker in Oakland, but sure. Danny White was the quarterback punter there in Dallas.
Yeah. And I mean that's you're talking about a great time and era, and that's kind of what we talk about here. We have a segment where we call Legend of the Star, where it's that kind of forgotten player that they won't make it to the ring or the Hall of Fame, but definitely a fan favorite, and like, oh man, I love watching this guy play. So if you have one, we definitely want to hear that. But yeah, back in the day, I mean, that's part of that tradition, and this seems to be something that's kind of welling up as a tradition where it's the Bucs and the boys. And I'll be honest with you, I love it because, they're 2 great teams. I really do believe they're 2 really good teams, and we can talk, they're 2 really good. I know, Trey, they're 2 really good teams.
Dallas is a really good team. Okay.
Right now they are. There's 2 glaring holes there, of course, with the line, the offensive line, and the receiving core.
Okay, but 2 main things that make a team great. Okay, in today's NFL.
Well, we talked about this last week, though. Dallas, with the exception of maybe Alvin Harper, never had a number 2 receiver that was recognized. Right? They've always had a 1. They've had a quarterback and a running back, and
which
that's
is ironic.
What they've had.
Which is ironic that you should say that because then Alvin signs the big contract and comes here to be a Buccaneer, and that's all he was number 2.
Yeah, because he's a 2. He is a 2.
No, he was number 2. But you're right. He was.
To label him a flop would be generous.
Yes.
Well, the thing that the story was, and I'm sure you guys have heard this, is that Alvin came here. And, the cat earned it. He played great there behind Michael Irvin in Dallas and earned his star. And he comes here with the big free agent contract. Every guy needs to get paid. But he came here and he spent more time over on Dale Mabry over at Mons Venus than he did over at One Buck Place working on that football game. And for a lot of years, a lot of football players did that exact same thing.
Yeah, but I think it also goes to that point in IC, Buck, is that when you think you're a 1 and you're really a 2, that's what you are.
That part.
Yeah, and that's what it is. He was a 2 because he had a great 1. Be a 2. You can get paid as a 2. He did get paid as a 2. He's going to get paid as a 2, but he wanted to be something else.
We kind of have that conundrum going on right now in Tampa. I mean, we've got Mike Evans, who is the standalone number 1.
Yes.
And I mean, I would almost be willing to put Mike up against anybody else's 1 on the field as far as the reliability. Now, there's others that are going to be maybe a better route runner or maybe a little bit faster or whatever, but you're not going to find anybody that's consistently as – I almost want to say unstoppable. I mean, because he can catch anywhere you throw it to him.
Yeah.
He's so much taller and stronger than most of the
That's what I was going to say.
The safeties. I mean, it contested catch. Mike's taking it all day long.
Yeah.
If Mike Evans isn't an Aggie, does Johnny Manziel win a Heisman Trophy?
No.
I mean, you know, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Johnny. He was a fantastic
college quarterback.
Whoa. That is a strong statement, though. That's a strong comment. But yeah,
you're talking to a guy who's from the hometown Johnny Manziel played high school football in.
Johnny still wouldn't get it.
He needed Mike Evans. I'm not saying he needed him exclusively, but Mike Evans. You look back at the touchdowns that Johnny Manziel threw that year that he won the Heisman, and Mike Evans was making a lot of great catches on a lot of big jump balls and a lot of 50-50 catches, and that's basically why he's number one receiver in the NFL today.
Why he was drafted so high.
That happened to a lot of college quarterbacks at that point. I mean, you look at Tim Tebow. You know, you got. Mm-hmm. You know, you got Johnny Football. You got other guys. I mean, they were the products. Tim,
Tim is different.
Tim was slightly different, but you saw it when he got to the NFL. He looked like a rock star on college turf, but when he stepped into the arena with the big boys, he got exposed.
He won a playoff game for Denver. Think about that. He won a playoff game. Did he win it?
Did he win it, or that defense win it?
Well, he won it with that last pass. I mean,
Tim Tebow's a winner.
But
you can say what you want to. Tim Tebow's a winner. If given a proper chance, the problem with that was the coach hated him. The coach despised him. He didn't want him. Didn't understand why he was there. So he was like, "Look, whatever. I guess I'll play him." And they won. And then he pulled him. Look. Tim Tebow's a winner.
Jay Stones, let me ask you this.
What's up?
If he's a winner, why is he not playing tight end for somewhere as he tried to do?
He didn't want to be a tight end.
I mean,
eventually he did.
He stacked on all that weight. He had the speed. He had everything else. But if he's a winner, he would have came in and done it there.
But the problem. Well, he was a QB. He wanted to be a QB. I respect that. Eventually, when he said, "Hey, Jacksonville, I'll try and be a tight end there because at least I can get back in the league that way." You're too old. The tight end position is different these days than what he was. Totally different than what he is. It's no longer a big guy that can block. They look like receivers. They look like receivers. I mean, like exclusively. Like if you look at Waller and like these guys, they're receivers.
The only one to me that still fits that same old tight end mold is Mark Andrews.
Ooh.
I mean, Joe, I don't know about you, man.
I mean, as far as being, the size and the way he plays, he's a receiver all day long.
Yeah.
But you got what the hell's his name from? You got Kittle. You got the guy from the
Kelce.
Chiefs. Kelce.
Kelce, Kittles.
They're big. They're big guys. They got phenomenal hands, great speed.
Yeah,
I mean, Mark Andrews is one that'll get in there if what he's asked to do in that game is beat the heck out of somebody and make sure that he's blocking and he's making sure that nobody gets to his guy. That's what you're going to see. And to me, that's why he fits that mold. Last year he was tight end 1.
Yeah,
and I benefited from that because everybody else got to the tight ends on the fantasy football draft. I'm like, hey, I'm going to take that guy.
Yeah, and I think now we're starting to see where tight ends they really just don't block like that anymore. Like I said, we have Dalton Schultz here, right? He's not a blocker. That's not what he does. Okay, he's not a blocker, right? These guys they'll push and then they run their route, right? Or they'll just release. The blocking tight end is gone. The blocking pass catching receiving tight end is gone. They're basically now receiving tight ends that push the guy. They just want to chip, and that's what they do, right? And so what worries me with Dallas going into this is that we're running two tight end sets for the most part. We're going to have single back. If Kellen Moore, and to me that's the X factor. If Kellen Moore cannot figure this thing out, because I read a quote today where he talked about the last game with Tampa Bay and saying that Jerry Jones wants to feature Ezekiel Elliott more, he wants to run more, but and that's what we're going to do. Great, awesome. Tony Pollard's going to be more involved. Great, awesome. Kellen Moore comes out and says, yeah, Dak passed for 58 times, and but those were we actually called running plays. It was just they ended up being counted as pass plays, but they were running plays. Like, no. It's either a run play or a pass play.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so when my OC is not able to distinguish between a pass play and a running play, I got an issue with that.
I'll tell you what, the scary thing this year, the scary thing with me is I don't think that just because Dak is 2 years removed now from that. I mean, I think all of America, for for anyone out there watching, Dallas fans are watching this, and Bucs fans are tuning in too, hopefully.
Sure.
We all felt that injury because we love Dak. We love the story behind Dak. We love the story with his mother and his loss of his mother and what this kid meant. He get a takeaway third rounder, and he comes in, and Tony Romo gets injured. He wins the job, and I thought this kid was a baller back in college.
Yeah,
but he wasn't running around. Even though we were surprised, we knew he was coming back from that injury last season. He was running it out. I think that you're going against that Buccaneers defense now. That's number one against the rush, and that's what they're looking to hang their hat on again this year in 2022. Right. You get Dak rolling out of the pocket, you get Schultz open, you get CeeDee Lamb, you get some of these receivers open, and you got Pollard. And I still think you got Zeke making that run game. But I think that the key to this game coming up here this Sunday night is going to be that Kellen Moore, they should have a bunch of planned rollouts for Dak, because I still think Dak rolling outside the pocket, maybe one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League, throwing the ball, rolling out of the pocket.
Yeah, to me, when you look at Dak, he's the most dangerous when he's on that move out of the pocket. He's not a guy that's going to stand he's not Tom Brady. He's not going to stand in the pocket and surgically dismember you. He's a guy that needs space. He needs obviously a lot of that has to do with the O-line protection schemes, and he's quick out of the pocket, and he makes his reads quick. If he has the right checkdowns, if he has the right Trey's dog's getting it, man.
Dude, this dog, this dog was asleep for 2 hours. I get up to get on the show, and now she wants to find the messiest toy in the world. I'm just
That's the way it goes, man. That's the way it goes.
You don't see him all day until you have to do something.
So you have to do something. That's the way it
goes.
I'm
just glad it's a dog. I didn't know for sure it was a dog. I didn't
dog
know
of the kid.
What was this little Trey?
I'm selling a pug if anybody wants a pug. Pugs are supposed to be like the nice and neat ones and crap, and this one's hyper as hell.
The kid will hate the fact that the dog is gone.
Well,
you want Chloe gone? She said no.
This is how much my kid is ready for football season. He's sitting here beside me with a mouthpiece in.
Hey, let's go.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. We're ready.
That's a little chill.
There you go. Big chill, buck chill, little chill. All right. But no.
But my thing.
Go ahead.
My thing with where Dallas is going to have to be careful is, yes, we're trying to hang our hat on the number one run defense. However, I was listening to some of the coaches in the press conferences after the game. They're like, we have 2 players now that are different than anybody we've had. They're like, the interior of our line is plug and play. You've got Vita, the man-child, who will run over anybody in the league.
He is so nasty, bro.
Team captain.
So nasty.
Team captain. First time he was voted team captain, and I love it because first Pro Bowl last year. Yeah, well, go ahead, Chill. I'm sorry.
He's one of those guys that you have to really, really love watching him. You see the interaction with him and Sue, and it's just like this kidding, this playfulness between the old guy and the rookie. It's it was great. I loved watching that. But you got him, and now you got Shaq Mason coming in on the line. You've got 2 excavators on the front.
Yeah.
And now you got Logan Ryan, who is hold on. Was it Logan Ryan?
He's a cornerback.
You got Akeem Hicks.
Akeem
Hicks, though. Oh, you got Akeem Hicks, though, now inside there.
Yeah. That's the one I meant. Akeem Hicks.
I knew you did, brother.
I've had a lot of crap going on the last couple of days, so my head's a little fuzzy. I mean, you got Akeem Hicks in there, and again, he's also an excavator type. Has he seen his?
I know. Yeah.
Has he seen his best football? Probably has already passed him, but is he still a serviceable veteran that can take up pick up one or two players and drive them back. Yeah.
So now, and that's what scares us on this side is, you sign Jason Peters. So now you got to get him acclimated. He's already 40. Look, I'm sorry, but
he's not playing 40. Week 1. He's not playing week 1.
Okay, but now you have McGovern,
Tyler Smith,
and you have Tyler Smith,
who's never played. They moved him to guard this preseason, and now Tyrone Smith goes down. And then at the first week against that number 1 rush defense, now we get to put him in. I mean, the guy's a baller, but he's have to learn on the fly.
But you have him next to McGovern, though. So you have McGovern and you have Smith on both the left side. You have Biotis still at the center.
So they're starting. Right?
No, he's
our offensive line is just as problematic. The things that we have to deal with. Right. I mean, because granted, you have Leverett and you have the new kid that they drafted, and we've got Gadecki on the left side, who's now our starting left guard.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm not so concerned with that piece of it because they spent what did he go, 3rd round?
Gadecki went in the second. Gadecki in the second. Hainsey went last year in the 3rd. So we got Hainsey at center and then Gadecki there at left guard. So yeah,
Hainsey. I'm not upset with what I've seen from Hainsey in the preseason. Mm-hmm. With him or Leverett, either one. You got to think that when Jensen went down, that's a huge loss to our offensive line. Number 1, he brings that nasty mentality.
Yeah.
He's a grinder. He wants to smash everybody in the face, but he's also so supremely intelligent that he sees what Tom doesn't see, and that's not much.
Mm-hmm. And that's and that's what gives us at least something to say, look, I keep saying this, and Big Game hates it when I call him that, but old man Tom looked like old man Tom in that last game he played, last year, where they were getting to him. And Tom has never liked that. Tom Brady has never, not to say any quarterback doesn't, but when it gets to, especially in his face up the middle, it's a problem for him. Michael Parsons had his coming out party that game, right, against Tampa Bay. We're now looking for Sam Williams to do the exact same thing, to come out and say, okay, you're at DN, you got Gregory, you had a rotation that I really like for our front 7, front 8. And you talked about Mike Williams, and I actually wanted to go back to that, where him matching up with Diggs, how is that going to look this season? Diggs gives up yards, but he doesn't give up, the big score. Again, he'll give up big yards. He gives up big yards. But he's also, but he's a ball hawk though. And so, I'm really looking towards that matchup as far as Dallas defense and Tampa Bay's offense.
Well, let me ask you this, because you talk about Diggs, probably one of the best secondary players in the National Football League. 13 interceptions last season. Is he automatically on Mike Evans, or what if the Bucs come out in the 4 wide and we got Julio Jones on the left side, and you got Michael Evans on the right side, and we're running Russell Gage?
Hey, I'm taking my chances with Julio Jones, and the guy's going to probably get injured in the first series anyway. And then the secret weapon is.
Oh, so we're talking smack now, okay?
Now we're finally there.
And then the secret weapon is let him be wide open in the end zone. He'll drop the pass anyway. So
this is true.
He's not going to get the red zone touches. I'll guarantee you that.
We know that.
You got Cameron Brate. You got Mike Evans.
Mike Evans will be the first option, obviously, because of his size, strength, and just what he is.
Chris Godwin's number 2.
Godwin, yes.
Is he going to be 100% healthy though?
He was.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Look too good in preseason.
Well,
training days.
He looked better in preseason than as a rehab player than most of the Dallas number 1. So I'm good.
Look.
Hey, none of the Dallas number 1s played.
They didn't play, and our receiving core, as we stated, is what it is. Between Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, they're the only ones that have NFL experience. But I do love Turpin possibly playing in the slot. That excites me.
Pollard also in the slot.
Pollard in the slot, or motioning him out, put him in a pro set. Again, if we can get out of this this 2 tight end set and going into, a 12 or a 13, and you can definitely do that. Yeah, for sure. What's up? That's my fam right there. Evening. Yes. Getting let's see. Do you think we'll get production out of Zeke and Pollard? I think so.
If you put in this game or season?
Maybe in the season. You're not getting it in this game.
I think both. You have to be committed to the run. To me, there's 3 things. Stay committed to the run. There you go. Stay committed to the run. The next thing is that you vary your play calling, and that also includes play action. And if you put Pollard in a position where you don't know what he's doing, and again, that goes back to play calling. But I think if you do those things, that keeps them honest, that keeps them from rushing up, and that's going to help Dak. And if you keep running Zeke, he eventually will break something.
Not that offensive line this year.
Not
here. Well, don't forget though, with the Bucs, I'll tell you what. Right now, you talked, and we talked about this already with the offensive line with the Buccaneers, and one of the reasons why Tom Brady and the Patriots would go, on and on winning championships and AL East championships and Super Bowls was because they changed that team up from year to year, whether it was Josh McDaniels or Charlie Weiss as the offensive coordinator. And I tell you what, people haven't even seen because he also didn't. Most of our ones didn't suit up all preseason, but you guys are going to. The reason why the Buccaneers give Leonard Fournette the largest contract in history for a Buccaneers running back is because you guys are going to see a lot. Now, he's not going to be jumping into the Salvation Army, cans there at AT&T Stadium, but you guys are going to see a lot of Lenny Fournette. And I'll tell you what, that's going to soften up that defense and allow us to throw underneath. So, sure. I mean, that's another reason why I go back to this is one of the best games of week 1 in the entire league.
And we had an issue with our run defense last year. That was the one glaring piece that we needed to shore up.
Really, not in week 1 we did against the Buccaneers, though.
No, you guys are pretty stout, but
it was a throwing contest that week 1.
Well, yeah, it definitely was. But that's what I'm saying. Just during the season, the run game was a bit hectic for us, especially the year prior. And I'll say
I
that.
I know it's second strings in preseason, but our run defense all preseason looked pretty good. I know it's second string. It looked good. It was an uplifting. But I think Parson growing into that, I think he's going to be able to help out in the run game a little bit.
Yeah.
Getting Anthony Barr in free agency, I think that's going to be a big help with the run game. And then Van Der Esch
our linebackers look great.
That's what I'm saying. And if we get Williams, 50% of what Parsons was last year, I think he's going to be helping on the defensive end as well too. So Cowboys should be all right, but it's going to take some growing pains. It's going to be interesting to see week 1. Like you said, Leonard Fournette's recently got a big contract, but we'll see. I don't know. That offensive line for Tampa is the only thing giving me hope because they're just as even as the Cowboys with injuries.
If Dallas wins, if you guys win the toss, if you guys, it's 8:00 there on Sunday night, and you guys win the toss, Dallas wins the toss at home. Do you guys? You're receiving.
We're receiving.
Turpentine. It's turpentine.
No, you know how many times we receive we won't make a statement, we go 3 and out, every time, every time. Like you hear on broadcast, Cowboys want to make a statement on this first drive, 3 and out.
And for us, we wonder because now with Todd Bowles, our head coach, of course, former defensive coordinator, and now he's the head coach. Assumes the head position after Bruce Arians moves up to the White Castle office there at One Buck Place. You start to wonder, because that's the one thing Bucs fans are looking for. One thing we're looking forward to this year is that as much as we know we've got Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady over there masterminding, scheming these offensive plays, and we got all these weapons and Julio and Russell Gage and everything else like we usually have. We're also wondering now we're going to see a team that's going to have a defense kind of like you see with Dennis Allen and those Saints when they played when Sean Payton had COVID last year a couple of times. You got a team now. You get that offense versus the defense, and who's going to play the best. And when you start playing those two against each other, that's when you really start to look for that success. And so I wonder if the Bucs, if they win the toss, if we don't kick the Dallas kick off to you guys and try to get you 3 and out. So the defense is where we hang our hat this year. But it's anybody's guess. I bet there's a good parlay or a good bet there in Vegas on that one right now.
That's a great one. That's a great one. I would almost say it's even at that point because, do the Cowboys want to show like you said, Trey, we're going to make a statement, but their best player on Dallas's team is Micah Parsons.
Yes, Micah.
So you want to make a statement of, hey, we're going to hit you in the mouth and show you that Tom Brady is old man Tom and that you guys aren't as good as you think you are on offense, right? Now, that could blow up in our face, obviously. right? And Tom is Tom because Tom is Tom. 23 seasons, starting his 23rd season. I mean, come on. But I think that makes a statement as well to show that, hey, we have one of the best defenses in the league. That's what we're touting, and I believe we're there. I think we're top 5 defense in the league easily. And now if you have, if you do go on offense, easily. I mean, if you can name 4 others or 6 others, fine. Buffalo's going to be good. Tampa Bay is obviously up there. You cannot discount LA, the Rams.
Can't discount the Patriots either.
The Saints,
Patriots.
Saints are tough. But tell me let me ask you guys this. Were you surprised Were you guys surprised Dan Quinn didn't take a head coaching job somewhere else after the success he had there in Dallas this last year?
No, because this is the reason why is because Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. It's going to see how this Dallas's first 4 games. Tampa Bay, Bengals, and then we got the 2 division games, and then we got Rams, and then Eagles. If we are 2 and whatever, Quinn was guaranteed a head coaching job for Dallas. I know Jerry Jones made a backdoor deal on that.
He is the highest paid. He is the highest paid defensive coordinator. He's the highest paid coordinator in the league.
It's the same rumblings as when Jason Garrett took over for Wade Phillips. It's the same thing.
Right. Yeah, and I don't think I don't think we can take here in Dallas an 8-9 record, or even 9-8. We can't take that. That's
in the past 27 years.
Yeah, it's been 8-8.
We win the division, have a good season, then all of a sudden we're 8-8 or 4-12, whatever the case may be.
Right.
So this is not there's not been a repeat champion in the NFC East.
Does that give you guys pause for cause though? Because we saw what we saw with Tony Dungy back in 2000 when he was built the best, one of the top 3 defenses in the history of the National Football League. Big Chill probably agree with me. Maybe behind the Baltimore Ravens, number 2, if you discount the 85 Bears. But, if you have a team like that, the way that Mike McCarthy's getting national media coverage, he seems real aloof. And this is the guy that locked himself into a barn for 2 years and hired 63 analysts, and they broke down every play in the National Football League.
And still
Right, but if you've got a defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, who builds the Legion of Boom out in Seattle back in the day, and of course didn't have much success with we did have some success with the Falcons, but then he ends up there in Dallas. I mean, going into the season, the last thing you guys want is to think maybe that the defensive guys are playing more for Dan Quinn and the offensive guys are trying to save McCarthy's job. And does that create does that create tension at all? Or is it just, let's just win this thing and figure this thing out as we go?
I honestly cannot answer.
Like that's going to be that juxtaposition where you're trying to figure out which side of which part of your team wants their guy to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And at what point does that cost you your entire season?
I think, though, that Dak's leadership, and this is one thing I can say to him, even though he can't throw a receiver open, his leadership is pretty awesome. In that he can rally. It seems like he can rally the team to move. Now, where they move and how much they do, I don't know. Again, it seems to me that Micah is more the person that does that than anyone else. Yeah. And one of the things that I did see during preseason was Micah was talking with CeeDee Lamb and another player. It wasn't Dak, but he was basically talking to offensive players, right? And it's like, okay, that's something you would not really see. For me, I wouldn't see that where defensive players are openly joking around with or whatever with offensive players. Usually they stick to their sides, right? And they may, talk or whatever amongst each other, but you see that here. So that's a great question. I do think the team. I think when McCarthy went out for those 2 weeks and they won with Dan Quinn, and it was a window into this is what it could be. Potential. And if they can't get Sean Payton, Dan Quinn's a damn good replacement.
Let me ask you guys this. I have no clue. I'll just tell you right up front. I don't have the clue one as to who is, and maybe you guys haven't even voted them yet. But let me take a stab. Don't tell me who they are, but have you guys already voted team captains?
I don't think they have either.
Okay, because I was going to say, so your team captain's got to be Micah Parsons.
Yeah, that's one.
Got to be Diggs.
Yep.
Got to be Dak.
No,
not Diggs. Dak. Yeah,
Dak. Okay, so
Dak will be one.
Micah, Dak. Now, please don't tell me one of your team captains is Pollard because it's got to be Zeke if it's a running back, right?
No.
I mean,
usually Usually it's an offense, defense, and a special teamer.
So, who is your kicker now? I know you got a good kicker. I'm trying to remember.
Mayer.
Oh, yeah, Mayer.
Yeah, they got to re-sign him and do some procedural stuff. But, yeah, it's going to be him.
Oh,
yeah, well, I mean, because we had down here, the Bucs have got Brady. We've got, of course, we already said Vita Vea. We have Mike Evans. And was it Chris Godwin was the fourth one? I think we have 4.
There's 5 total.
Wow. No, there's 2 defensive back. And then we're keeping that 5th one open. Usually it's a special teams player. But yeah, no, I only asked because that would go a long way. That would go a long way toward answering my question about the possibility of a Fisher, if you will, as to who gets voted team. Because for example, if it was Pollard instead of Zeke, it's not going to be either one probably. But I still think Zeke is posed to have a great year. I think he was posed last year till he had the injury. And then Pollard came on. I think having 2 running backs, unlike the quarterback position, when they say you have 2 good quarterbacks, you have no good quarterbacks. You can't have enough good running backs. I think you guys are in great shape in the backfield there.
But
again, Ray, we actually filled all 5 of our slots.
Who's the 5th one?
Levante, Devin White, Vita Vea, Tom Brady, and Mike Evans.
Mike Evans was the 5th because it was Vita Vea and Mike and Devin. Oh, Devin. Okay, right. We got all 5. So that's solid.
Linebackers, defensive lineman, quarterback, and a receiver.
And they didn't want to make Julio captain because he would be a part-time captain. I'm kidding. I'm just because you guys made the joke.
Look, well, when Julio went in, and here's the thing about Mike Evans is that to me, he's obviously a great receiver, but the best ability is availability. And with Julio and with Mike, will they be able to sustain, and Godwin, will they be able to stay on the field long enough for this season, right, to finish it out for Tampa Bay? Because that's going to be the real question for me is, can they do that? Can they sustain it? The tight end position, you have a tight end. Supposedly they're, we're not missing Gronk. That's what the Bucs are saying. Gronk is Gronk. He's going to do whatever. Yeah. We're good. But, that's Tom's blanket. Who's Tom's blanket this season?
Well, to that piece of it, I mean, I think that's where our embarrassment of riches in the wide receiver room is going to benefit all of them, because you don't have to have a guy out there getting 30-40% target share in order to maintain the level of availability, as you say, with our wide receivers. You've got a room that's got Scotty Miller, who's arguably one of the fastest players in the NFL. You got
but speed, look, the Raiders have shown that just because you're fast doesn't mean you can catch. Okay, because they would draft 4-2 guys.
Scotty Miller can catch though.
4-2 guys, 4-3 guys who couldn't catch.
Into the first half of the Green Bay game. Come on, man. I mean,
I'm just saying.
When his number is called, he pretty much catches the ball.
Okay.
However, you've got Scotty Miller. You've got we've got Russell Gage, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I mean, it's probably the best wide receiver room in the NFL.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question. How many?
And we just brought the one rookie back on the
practice squad.
On the practice squad, and to me, he should be on the other one, and Jalen Darden should be on practice squad.
Ooh.
Just from what I saw, in the preseason at the practices and stuff like that. The kid's on fire, and his hands are like super glue.
What's your prediction for Julio Jones' yards and TDs this season? I'm curious because I keep hearing
400 to 500 and maybe 4 TDs.
Wow.
You see, I here's the thing. When Julio goes to Tennessee as a free agent, he was already long in the tooth after Atlanta. Still such a great receiver. Still so many skills. But, like all of us, they get older. But now you're talking about the fact that he's a wide receiver 4 behind Evans, Godwin, and Gage. And he's also still in a wide receiver room with a quarterback in Tom Brady who's knows how to throw to the open receivers. So instead of when he's playing in Tennessee for Ryan Tannehill, who's basically just a play action quarterback and throw you open, now you've got a quarterback that's going to put it in the right place at the right time. I think Julio's good. I mean, I'm not going to get a whole lot better, but I'd say maybe somewhere north of 500 yards and maybe 6 or 7 touchdowns, and that's just because we got to get others, and we got to get Mike Evans' 9th 1,000-yard season because he's still the only player to do 8 of them.
Exactly.
Man, y'all are hot on Julio Jones. I don't see that at all.
I
don't.
I don't think he's ever had more than like 8 touchdowns in a season.
Even in his good years, he
was never a touchdown machine.
No, he was a fantasy nightmare because he put up all these and never got the touchdown.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though.
That's why I drafted him for one of the first years I ever played, and never again.
Well, here's the thing, though. You guys already made
1,700 yards and no touchdowns. I mean,
well, you guys made the point. We get inside the red zone, and all of a sudden, Tom Brady doesn't have his blanket and Rob Gronkowski, and you got Mike Evans, who's your 50-50 guy. But what are the other teams doing? They're doubling Mike Evans down because they realize he's a 50-50 guy. So what do? You throw it to the other 6'5" receiver who can jump in the end zone, and that being Julio Jones.
Can he jump? Because
I'm not saying you can.
I remember a playoff game when he could have jumped and grabbed the ball, but he kind of laid out and sucked at it.
Listen,
those are alligator eyes.
Stop living in the past. Let
me go here with this one. If Tom throws him the ball and it's catchable, if with just a little bit of effort, and he doesn't put that little bit of effort in there, he's not on the field anymore.
You're right.
Done.
You're right.
I mean, and
we'll see about that. I'm curious to see that.
What
if he doesn't show effort, because AB has shown. You don't have to show a lot of effort, but you can still be on the
bullshit. No. AB gave effort.
I don't even want to hear AB's name in the rest of this podcast.
AB gave effort.
We all have our crosses to bear. We all have our thorns, right? Our crown of thorns. That is yours. We have ours.
We started 0-26. That's my crown of thorns. AB can
get no, sir. No, we did 1-15. Whatever.
Jay, be careful what you wish for.
Hey, what about you guys?
He did say he's coming. He wants to be a Cowboy.
Well, what about? Tell me about this, because you guys are there, and you Dallas fans. You guys, when you first heard that, when you first heard AB says, "Hey, Jerry, give me a call." You as Buccaneer fans, I'm like, oh, you guys can't tell me you guys weren't going.
No, on every social media I could get on, I said, Jerry, don't you do it. Anywhere I could do it.
I was so scared.
Yeah,
I was scared.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this.
Here's the thing. It would be scary for me from one aspect, but I also know from just listening to people that I know that have been around the league before, somebody that pulls some shit like that and just completely walks off on your team, takes your stuff off and just abandons your team, you're done.
Yeah.
Especially with his history of antics like that. If that was the first time, maybe he gets a pass. No. This ain't the first time that's happened.
Let me ask you this, though. If you had to take one, who, Antonio Brown at wide receiver or Deshaun Watson at quarterback, who are you taking?
Deshaun Watson.
Oh, snap. Hell no. Yeah. Hell no. And I like Deshaun. I like Deshaun's game, but there's 46 reasons why I don't even touch Deshaun. In fact, I was live on the air when Brady announced his, and if you guys don't mind me, I'll just selfless plug here for Cover Bray. I had heard the news that Sunday that all of a sudden, 11th hour, the Buccaneers are one of 4 teams that were in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. It was the Atlanta Falcons. It was the New Orleans Saints, even the Carolina Panthers, believe it or not, and then the Bucs. It was like the entire NFC South. Sure. And I said, oh, hell no. So I ran up here, got on live. We're doing a show, did a 2.5-hour show about the reason why I'd be fine with Blaine Gabbert. Because remember, Tom Brady didn't announce he was coming back yet.
Yeah.
And
I actually think I jumped on that with you.
You did, brother. And we were on live when Tom Brady busted it on Instagram that he was coming back. And it was one of our biggest, one of our 10,000 views we did that day. So.
Y'all had a parade.
Oh, we
in the
boat
streets.
Parade.
Are you kidding me? Everybody was popping bubbles. It's like, come on, let's get on the speedboats. It's time to party. Yeah. Exactly.
We had a running joke around my job that all that was Tom Brady decided to give up football for Lent.
Oh, snap. 40 days.
He was trying to figure out what he wanted to see if he could get it in Miami, but I know we can't talk about that.
Okay, so now we're talking about Tom Brady. I'm glad we talked about this because y'all live in Tampa, y'all got the scoop because Tom Brady's a very private person. Aren't y'all afraid like him coming back could hurt him worse than retiring the Buccaneers? Because now we're hearing rumblings that their marriage ain't good. He's being a single father, and he's finding it very hard to balance both. And I'll be kind of worried. He's older in the two. I'm not counting out Tom Brady. Don't give me that. Yeah. I'm not counting him. I never will. I never have. I never will be. He's proven me wrong plenty of times. But it's kind of like I've never seen Tom Brady like this before, and it's kind of scaring me a little bit.
Trey, let me tell you this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Big Joe.
No, go ahead, man.
Well, let me tell you this. First of all, I said this when Tom first signed here in 2020. Of course, the entire world was going through a pandemic, but I said that the day the Buccaneers, the day we rushed that contract into New York and faxed it, he signed it. The Buccaneers became a better team that day because automatically you had 52 other guys in the room that were going to do the extra set, the extra gassers, the extra work because they realized they were playing with the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, and if you guys are watching Get Up and some of the sports shows that are on, this week and especially today, if the stuff with Gisele is true, then that's Tom's personal life, and he's got to deal with that because I got to deal with my wife every day, and ain't nobody helping me out with that shit. But I will tell you this though, count Tom Brady out. And I'll tell you what, now you're playing into his wheelhouse because Tom Brady loves nothing more than people to tell him what he isn't going to do so he can go out there and show you what he is going to do.
Listen, the man's what, in his 22nd year in the league?
23rd, going into his 23rd season.
Yeah, and he can still tell you who was picked ahead of him and in what pick. And, I mean,
he still talks on that.
That tells you the meticulous level of petty that man is capable of because his entire career has been built on the fact and predicated by the fact he was the 199th pick, 6th round, 6 other quarterbacks go before him. And when he hit free agency, evidently there were people that wanted him on the team. There was deals being done, and they're like, no, we'll just stay with our guy. He's like, you stay with your guy.
Well, you know what?
Look, let
me finish though, Trey. To answer your question, thanks, Jay. To answer your question, Trey, I was over at the Brady's for potluck yesterday. We do a little Tuesday afternoon potluck. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you his personal life. I'm not going to tell you what himself really do have going on. But I will tell you though, I'll still take a Tom Brady with clouded judgment over a Kyle Trask or a Blaine Gabbert moving into 2022.
Oh, for sure.
Well, yeah, I agree. I'm not counting Tom Brady out. I'm just saying you can see a little digression, and you don't have the safety nets of Gronk. You don't know what Godwin's going to be either. So that's why I'm kind of like, and the offensive line isn't as. I mean, Jensen's out for how long? 4 months? 4 weeks.
Now they're saying maybe even through the playoffs, if not at all. Which I don't know. I think that. You don't keep him on the roster and put him on IR the day after 53 if you're not planning on him being back. Now we go back and look at that injury. It wasn't like it bent the entire, and these guys are huge. I can't tell you how much it takes to damage an MCL and ACL, but I would have thought that he would be back by the 6th or 8th week.
Yeah. Hey, before I want to make sure that I just want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. I know you guys have other things to do. If you're still able to, come on or stay on with us, because I do want to, we do a segment where we call, the Legend of the Star. Trey kind of laughs at it sometimes because he hates the name, but whatever. But this is where we talk about, a buck in your case, or a star for us, a cowboy that didn't make the ring, isn't in the ring or Hall of Fame, but just a fan favorite. But if you're willing to play along,
Let's get after it.
Hey, just name the guy that you have and kind of why you picked him or what stood out to you about one of your favorite Bucks.
I'll go first.
Right.
Yeah. James Canada. And I'm not doing that because Big Game Sports Buzz. I'm telling you guys what. Take it from a guy who was I was 27 years old. I was in, prime. It's been a few years now. I'm dating myself, telling you I was 27 when James was playing here. We drafted him out of Nevada in 98, and he plays here till 2001. But the great thing about James Canada, I always say that he was a good looking inside defensive lineman because he was sure a better looking cat than Warren Sapp was. But whenever James, and we lost Steve White last week, a shout out to Steve White, who we lost. He was also another solid defensive lineman. But when James came in, one of the luxuries we had as Buccaneer fans here was that when James Canada came in and played on this defensive line, because we were so spoiled with a Simeon Rice and a Warren Sapp and stuff. But when James came in half the time we gained because while the number ones were gassed, or while the big guys that were used to being superstars and getting all the press on Sundays were gassed, James would come in and still play as solid as they did, but he wasn't gassed. He was fresh. And so it was always a refreshing thing when James Canada came in here. So you're asking me as far as just naming Buccaneer, I can go back to 76 with some Buccaneers that may never be in a ring. Mark Cotney, Richard Batman Wood, Leroy Selman is in a Ring of Honor. His brother Dewey wasn't. But for me, James, and that's one of the reasons why association with Big Game Sports Buzz and you guys, Jay, and being able to do stuff like this is because he was actually one of my idols back when he was playing here. Because while everyone else is looking at all the other guys, the Hall of Famers, I'm looking at the grinders, and he was a grinder in here on his Buccaneers defensive line.
Absolutely, that's a good one.
I'm glad you said that because I actually forgot about it. And then when you said him, like, oh crap, I do remember.
Oh yeah, no, he's made me watch his videos, so I said, yeah, man, you were good.
I mean,
what about you, Chill?
For me, there's a few names that come across just like with Ray. I mean, living and playing in this market, there's a lot of great talents that go underappreciated and undernoticed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got guys like Hugh Green. He was one of the. I mean, he was a beast. He jumped in there. But to me, the one guy that stands out to me that does not get the love that I feel he very much deserves is Simeon Rice.
Yes.
He comes in from the Cardinals. He turns up an explosive D line into a deadly D line because you've got this massive guy that. The big thing to me when Sim played for us was the Michael Vick era. He was so fast, nobody could do anything with him. He didn't do – we rendered his legs useless because Sim was faster sideline to sideline than he was.
True.
We're talking about a guy that's 270 pounds.
Yeah.
And when Michael Vick tried to pull and try to juke back in, Sim would just be like, wow, nope, you're done.
That's good. Hey, two great names, yeah.
He doesn't, he's not looked at the Hall of Fame level. He's not given the Ring of Honor, nothing. But anybody that has watched any Buccaneers defense, he was the Sapp changed the 3 technique in the NFL, period.
Sure.
And he has the accolades. He was given the recognition.
Yeah.
Sim was the first of the prototypical defensive ends that you see now. That was a little bit lighter, a little bit bigger, and a whole lot faster than most other pieces.
And don't forget when Simeon was at Illinois. I mean, when he was with the Fighting Illini, the guy was the most dominant defensive lineman in the entire college football. And then he played for a decade out there in Arizona on some very poor Arizona teams. And so he was the most dominant player on those teams. So I think you make a great point there. If Simeon would have came here first and been on this team and then had the success and won Super Bowl 37 and the things he did here instead of the 10 years he was out there in Arizona, then maybe we're talking about a guy who's making plans for Canton.
For sure. Trey, bring it up to the Cowboy side. Who you got, man? Oh.
Okay. Be with me, Cowboy fans and Jay. Okay, so y'all know for the last 27 years, it's been heartache after heartache after heartache. And we're tired of these Stephen A. Smiths and these people like this.
So are we.
But I'm going with a guy who protected our honor, who protected the legacy of the Cowboys in one game, George Teague.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice. Sir.
Hey, they got respect here, baby.
I mean, the Cowboys game walked. T.O. did the star thing. George Teague said, no, you're disrespect. He gave my respect. I don't care how crappy he played. He was one of my favorite players growing up, or not growing up, but in that era. That I loved. Like, I was like, I don't care what he does. That was awesome what he did. And then T.O. came and joined our team, so whatever.
But, Jay, once you get done with yours,
knock some sense into him.
Yeah, very nice, sir. Very, very well done. For me, it is the Shark, Kenny Gant. I loved how he played. He had sass. He was, just that type of player that he's going to give it to you every single time, talk trash, whatever, but he backed it up. I really loved how he played. And unfortunately, his career just didn't really spring forward like I thought like it could have, or, just really got the recognition. He got a little bit here and there, but Kenny the Shark Gant was one of those favorites that I had and that I just loved playing. Watching play. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for playing along in that Legend of the Bucks and Legend of the Star. It's been fun. We got to close this thing out. Again, I want to shout out Tampa Bay Ray. Tell us what you're on. I know we said Cup Ray, Bucks Report. Anything else you got going on that we can shout out definitely do that. Here's your time, sir.
Well, I'll be live on Sunday. I already said I'll be somewhere, probably down at the Beach Bash for a while. But I'd like to do a lot. I'll be at the Takeover there in Tampa. I do a lot of live stuff. I like to, I bring it down to the streets of St. Petersburg. I like to bring it to where the party's at on a Friday night. I do a little Cup of Ray after dark. It's basically our chance to, after 10 p.m., since we have an MA rating, to get a little loose, have a little fun. Gotcha. So check that out. And then, thanks for having me on, brother. I hope to have you guys. Oh, maybe we can have maybe a recap after the game on Sunday night. We can do it again.
Sounds fun, man. Now you're on YouTube, probably YouTube, Facebook. They can catch you on Twitter. They can catch you on everywhere. You're everywhere.
Ray Kennedy on Facebook, and please check me out. And I also have a YouTube page, but I'm on Bucks Report, and I also do writing. I won 2019's Best Local Columnist here. I actually started out as a writer, and I realized, hey, I have a face for radio, but let me try this video thing. But I just like talking. So if it's sports, we're talking about it, especially if it's NFL.
Fantastic. Awesome. Buck Chill, my guy AC Brown. Where you at? What you got going?
We've Crew Life Buccaneers Takeover. It's at Riveters in Tampa. Usually an hour before game time, we kick everything off. We have a live DJ. We've got raffles, all that kind of stuff. On game day, you'll find me working alongside Leatherheads at the Leatherhead Tailgate in Tampa.
Best tailgate around.
MLK and Himes, come on down, get it in, have fun. It's all family friendly. Jay Stowe, you're gonna like this one.
What's up?
I'm gonna dial back to that last segment, and I'm gonna give you, in honor of my father, Walt Garrison.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers. So man, it was a pleasure to be on here with you guys tonight, and hopefully we can.
Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. I know Ray had to go and do his thing, but hey, thank you so much for tuning in. This Cowboys Cutting Up. I saw that James jumped in here right at the last minute about stumping the Scrub Boys. Whatever. I'll talk to you later, big game. But hey, for ASAP All Sports, All Play Sports Network, and of course, Big Game Sports Buzz, Trey Collis, make sure that you check him out as well. On Hill Country Sports, and he's doing sideline reporting.
Yes, real quick on that.
Yes.
This week, high school sideline report for the Kerrville Tivy Antlers. It's Hall of Fame night. Guess who got inducted to the Tivy Hall of Fame, baby?
I don't know who did.
Johnny Football. And guess who's going to be in his team? And guess who's going to be there Friday night?
Mike Evans.
I bet he would. I bet he would if he.
You know what? He might.
Sunday. No, he has a game Sunday. There's no way.
Don't sleep.
Well, he's going to be in Texas.
Friday night. We have a late game.
Yeah,
it is also in Texas. It's only a 4-hour drive to.
I'm saying so. You might.
So maybe I'll get to interview Johnny and see what's going on and everything. So keep it on my Twitter feed. Maybe we'll find out something.
Cool. Well, hey, again for Jay Stocks, Cowboys Cutting Up. Make sure you check us out. Thank you so much for joining in. See y'all later. Bye-bye.